What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, May 12th, 2024, and I have another emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 1500 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Poland, from Ukraine, from the Middle East, and also from here in the United States. So I want to start with Poland first. So it appears that the capital of Poland, Warsaw, is under some type of a sabotage attack. What you're looking at here is video footage coming out of Warsaw showing a massive fire at a shopping center in Warsaw. Now, this is a very strange situation because there was actually some guy spotted running around with handguns near the scene of the fire, and he was actually pointing them at some of the firefighters trying to extinguish this massive fire. And in addition to this fire, there's also another fire that is raging at some type of landfill not too far away from this shopping center. Okay, apparently this massive shopping center has basically burned to the ground, and the fire is so large that the NASA fire satellites that NASA uses to spot forest fires around the world can actually see these fires from space. Okay, look at this, guys. This is absolutely insane, and I have no doubt that this is some type of a sabotage attack by Russian agents. We've seen tensions skyrocketing between Poland and Belarus and between Poland and Russia in recent weeks because Poland formally applied to become part of NATO's nuclear sharing program. And in the nuclear sharing program, American nuclear weapons would be stationed in Poland, and Polish fighter pilots would be trained to deliver these nuclear weapons. So I believe Poland is going to become part of the NATO nuclear sharing program, and they're going to be part of the NATO nuclear strike mission. And shortly after Poland applied for that program, Russia and Belarus announced that they were doing joint tactical nuclear weapons drills. And earlier last week, video footage was released by the Belarusian Ministry of Defense showing Belarus loading nuclear tipped Iskander missiles onto their launchers. Okay. So I have no doubt that this is some type of a sabotage attack, especially when you consider the guy that was running around with handguns. And I actually have some pictures of that. A picture of this guy that was just running around, looks like with a Glock. And I don't know what his deal was, but he was pointing this pistol at some firefighters that were trying to extinguish the fire. Very, very strange, guys. The chief commander of the Polish State Fire Service, Brigadier Mariusz Feltynowski, said that it was a very strange situation and that 11 minutes after reporting to the fire, most of the shopping center was on fire. Basically, that the shopping center caught fire unusually fast. Okay, usually fires like this take time to spread. Okay, but he said that after 11 minutes of arriving on the scene, most of the shopping center caught fire. And during the extinguishing operation, an unknown person appeared with an object resembling a weapon. The photos were shared by the Polish press agency and show that the man was aiming it at people, including firefighters. The police detained this person. So this guy has been detained. Okay, this is very strange, guys. Here he is running. You can see the pistol on his hip. He appears to be of maybe Asian descent or maybe Pacific Islander. I don't know. And then here's another picture of him running around, and here you can see the Polish firefighter just standing there looking at this guy. So very strange situation in Warsaw. And here's the NASA fire satellite, and you can see these two red squares here in the northern part of Warsaw. where that fire is. I don't know if it's still raging. It must be if this square is still there. And then here's the other fire nearby at some landfill. Okay, pretty big fire there. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1 month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1 month freeze dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store, and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the My Patriot Supply 1 month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there. So something's going on in Warsaw. In addition to that, we have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert this afternoon. What you're looking at are 3 Boeing E-6B Mercury nuclear war command and control planes up in the air over the continental United States. We have one flying over Montana, we have one flying over Nebraska, and we have one flying over Ohio. Now, these planes are responsible for communicating with our submerged nuclear-armed submarines, and they're also responsible for remotely launching all of our Minuteman III ICBMs if necessary. And so these planes were up in the air communicating with our nuclear-armed submarines, sending out potentially nuclear attack options to our ballistic missile subs. The Ohio-class sub, you can see the one over Ohio was flying off the coast of New York and New Jersey in deep water here where subs are. You can see the one over Nebraska was looping over Kansas. When they do loops, that's usually when they transmit messages to our nuclear forces. They have a giant spool with a 1 mile long antenna, and they spool out that antenna and they fly in circles so that antenna stays vertical, and they can transmit messages to our nuclear forces that way through VLF, very low frequency, which is unaffected by EMPs and radiation interference. And it could be that they have so many of these up in the air today because the normal high frequency system is experiencing interruptions due to the ongoing solar storm, which I'm going to update you guys on in a minute here. But very interesting situation, guys, in Warsaw. So there's going to be another peak of this geomagnetic storm tonight, it looks like. What you're looking at here is a recent post from the NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center, and they're saying geomagnetic storming will continue into Monday. Secondary peak in the solar storm likely. Geomagnetic storming of varying intensity will continue overnight. By early Sunday and into Sunday night, the next major coronal mass ejections will begin to slam into the Earth's magnetic field and reach the outer atmosphere. A G4 or greater watch remains in effect for May the 12th. Okay, the scale of geomagnetic storms goes from G1 all the way up to G5. Okay, kind of like hurricanes, right? You have category 1 through category 5. Well, it's basically the same thing with geomagnetic storms. So they're saying for the rest of today, at least a G4 geomagnetic storm. Okay, so that's like a category 4 hurricane or potentially greater. All right. And then they say here G4 plus. Okay, G4 or greater watch remains in effect. And you can see here G4 plus. And they did confirm that their website was down. Remember in my prior update yesterday, I told you guys that their website was down. So they did confirm that their website was down due to a very high number of connections, just like I said yesterday. Didn't I say that? I said that because there's so much traffic, their servers are not configured for that much traffic, and they had issues with that. So all you trolls out there that were saying that I didn't know what I was talking about, well, proven wrong again. Okay, but they fixed the website. The website is working. So they're saying here again, G4 or greater watch early Sunday through Sunday night. Okay, widespread auroras seen at lower latitudes. Okay, and then here's another post from this morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, severe to extreme geomagnetic storming possible, G4 plus. Okay, severe or extreme geomagnetic storming is possible again later today. All right. And then there was yet another X-class flare. Apparently, overnight last night, there was another X-class flare, okay, from this sunspot region, 3664, which kind of reminds me of the Carrington event. During the Carrington event in 1859, the really strong geomagnetic storm that caused all kinds of blackouts in communications across the world and auroras all the way to the equator. There was this massive sunspot that early astronomers were able to see with their telescopes, and people reported being able to see this sunspot with solar glasses. Okay, now I personally didn't see it because it's been cloudy here for the past week, typical Pennsylvania spring weather. Okay, so I wasn't able to look at the sun, but numerous people were seeing the actual massive sunspot on the sun with solar glasses. Okay, so this is probably almost as strong as the Carrington event, guys. Okay, I mean, we've had global auroras, guys. Okay, there were auroras spotted in the equator. Okay, and let me just show you guys the K index right now. It's low at the moment, but it is going to spike up very, very soon. So again, tonight, more auroras all the way around the world down to the equator. Here's a picture of a very vivid aurora from Tenerife in the Canary Islands. Okay, look at that, guys. Canary Islands. And then here's a picture from the Galapagos Islands, guys. This is right on the equator. Okay, global auroras, guys. This is, in my opinion, the work of God. Okay, I want to read to you something coming from Catholic prophecy about the secrets of Fatima. So if you guys are not aware of the Catholic prophecy of Fatima, on July 13th of 1917, 3 kids in Spain saw the Virgin Mary, and the Virgin Mary told the kids what was going to happen in the future, and Mary basically warned the kids that there was going to be another war, and she was talking about World War II, and then she was talking about Russia rising to power, and that Russia would cause problems around the world if people didn't pray and repent of their sins. Well, what's interesting is the Virgin Mary also mentioned that there were going to be lights around the world before the next war, and she was talking about World War II because this was 1917, right after World War I. So she was warning the kids that there would be another war and that there were going to be lights right before the war. Well, in 1938, there were these auroras around the world, all right, just a year before Hitler attacked Poland, okay, in 1939. So this is very, very interesting. I want to read to you exactly what the Virgin Mary told the kids in the second part of the Secret of Fatima, or the Prophecy of Fatima. If what I say to you is done, many souls will be saved and there will be peace. The war is going to end, but if people do not cease offending God, a worse war will break out during the reign of Pope Pius XI. When you see a night illuminated by an unknown light, know that this is the great sign given to you by God that he is about to punish the world for its sins by means of war, famine, and persecutions against the church and of the Holy Father. To prevent this, I shall come to ask for the consecration of Russia to my Immaculate Heart and the communion of reparation on the first Saturdays. If my requests are heeded, Russia will be converted and there will be peace. If not, she will spread her errors throughout the world, causing wars and persecutions of the church. The good will be martyred. The Holy Father will have much to suffer. Various nations will be annihilated. Okay, and what's interesting is on the night of January 25th to 26th, there was this massive aurora that spread across the world. Okay, it was a global aurora, just like what we've seen. And the Virgin Mary specifically said that there will be a night illuminated by an unknown light. Know that this is the great sign given to you by God that he is about to punish the world for its sins by means of war, famine, and persecutions against the church. Okay, so this could be part of the Fatima prophecy, guys. Okay, and we could see potentially all these wars breaking out now. We have Israel on the verge of going into Rafah. They dropped leaflets the other day over Rafah. Thousands and thousands of leaflets were raining down over Rafah. We have Russia entering the Kharkiv Oblast now, and they're reinforcing their positions, and it looks like they're going to go for Kharkiv and try to take that whole city, which if they try to go for Kharkiv, it's going to turn into a modern day Stalingrad. And I think it's going to happen, guys. I'm telling you right now. Okay. I think Russia's going to go for Kharkiv because it's a very important city and there's a lot of Russians there. And if they take Kharkiv, obviously the Ukrainian economy will take a huge hit because Kharkiv is the second largest city. It's also an industrial city for Ukraine. But also the brutality of that operation is going to be like nothing we've seen so far in this war, probably, because you have millions and millions of people in Kharkiv. It's a huge city. It's like LA. I think there's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 million people there. Okay. And the Ukrainians are not going to let Russia take Kharkiv. So that could turn into a modern day Stalingrad. We have the situation between the Baltic countries and Russia escalating. Okay, we have Russia and Belarus doing tactical nuclear weapons drills. It appears that Russia is on the verge of attacking the Baltics and Poland. Poland has started building bunkers and trenches along their border with Russia and Belarus. Same thing with Latvia. So these global auroras could be divine. They could be a sign from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ that judgment is coming and that wars are coming. So I want to update you guys on the situation in Ukraine. The Russians are continuing to advance towards the city of Kharkiv. They made some more gains last night. I want to show you just how close the Russians are to downtown Kharkiv, okay? Just 20 miles, okay, or 20 kilometers actually, which is about 15 miles, 16 miles, okay? So the Russians are only 16 miles away from downtown Kharkiv. And what's interesting is the locations of where the Russians are advancing. So they're advancing over here in this area near Morokovets, and then they're also advancing over here near Vovchansk. Now, what's interesting is there's two main highways here. So you have one highway that goes down from Morokovets to downtown Kharkiv. Okay, you see all these little towns here: Tsirkuni, Cherkasy, Tisky, Ruski Tisky, Borshova, all these little towns. It's just one main road that goes down to Kharkiv through all these villages. And then there's another road here. You see this road right here? And all these villages, Stady Saltiv. And then that goes up to where the Russians are now, near Vovchansk. Okay, so it appears to me that the Russians are trying to secure these highways with limited forces. These are not the assault elements, guys, okay? These are not yet the assault elements. These are just like supporting elements, recon elements, and what they're doing is they're trying to secure these roads into Kharkiv, and once they secure these roads, then they're going to funnel in thousands and thousands of troops and hundreds of tanks. Okay, that's what I think is going on here. And the Ukrainians already blew up this bridge here near Stady Saltiv to slow down the Russian advance. But yesterday there were reports that Russia already started shelling the suburbs of Kharkiv. There's been massive evacuations underway in these areas here, including in Serkuni. People have been evacuated here. Okay, this is like the first town outside of Kharkiv. So very serious situation there. And NATO intelligence agencies are warning ministers in Ukraine and the UK about alleged Russian saboteurs following a series of recent suspicious incidents. They are accusing Russia of hiring gangsters to carry out arson at sites connected to arms shipments for Ukraine. Now, very interesting that NATO is warning Ukraine and the UK about this literally the same day that we have these fires breaking out in Warsaw. Apparently, a London warehouse caught fire, and a South Wales defense manufacturer's factory caught fire. A Pennsylvania defense contractor's plant caught fire, which I reported on that about a month ago. That's the plant in Scranton where they've been producing artillery shells for Ukraine. That caught fire about a month ago. A German air defense contractor's factory caught fire. I reported on that as well. So, very serious situation with these saboteurs. And the Ukrainian authorities are saying that all border areas in the Ukrainian Kharkiv region are now exposed to Russian fire. So, Russia is shelling the crap out of the Kharkiv Oblast. And the situation on the front in Kharkiv region has deteriorated significantly, according to the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky. Okay, deteriorated significantly. The Ukrainian army will prepare for the defense of the capital of Ukraine, Kyiv, after Russia's offensive on Kharkiv has begun, according to The Economist. The armed forces of Ukraine are going to create 10 new brigades, some of which will have to defend Kyiv in case of a Russian offensive, said the commander of the Ukrainian ground forces, Oleksandr Pavlyuk. And Russia is blaming the collapse of an apartment building in Belgorod on Ukraine, calling it a terrorist attack by Ukraine. And what you're looking at here is this apartment block that apparently was shelled by Ukraine. They're saying that it was hit by a Tochka missile, and you can see the whole center of this apartment building collapsed. I don't know if that's true or not, or if this is a Russian false flag. We have no idea, but thought I would just share that with you. And also, 4 Russian high-ranking military officers were killed in a Ukrainian HIMARS strike in Donetsk. Major Andriy Vasyukov, part of the 346th GRU Spetsnaz Brigade. Captain Alexei Zdarenkov, also part of Spetsnaz Unit 92154. Captain Vladislav Turin and Lieutenant Marat Kasanov. Okay, and what you're looking at here is a picture of that strike in Donetsk where the Ukrainians killed these high-ranking Spetsnaz officials. And I want to just show you guys some flight paths from Eastern Europe last night. So what you're looking at here is a Boeing P-8 Poseidon Subhunter plane that was looping for hours right outside of Kaliningrad near northern Poland and Lithuania, keeping an eye on the Russian Baltic Fleet checking to see if there's any Russian subs operating in this area. And earlier this afternoon and in the morning, we had this British reconnaissance plane that was flying parallel to the western shore of Crimea. So it's possible we may see Ukrainian airstrikes and missile strikes on Crimea tonight, potentially. So, what they do when they fly like this is they gather information for the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians use that information in their targeting. Okay. And want to just update you guys on the situation in Israel. So, the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, told CBS News this morning that if Israel achieves initial success in Rafah, it will not be sustainable. And the Iranian foreign minister said peace in the Middle East will not be achieved until Israel is disarmed of nuclear weapons. Wow. And Hamas fired rockets into southern Israel this afternoon. And the FDA is preparing for a possible bird flu pandemic in humans that might be fatal for 1 out of every 4 people it infects, according to the agency's official. The Daily Mail reported Dr. Robert Califf, the FDA commissioner, mentioned to a Senate committee that they are creating plans to distribute tests, antiviral medicines, and vaccines if the virus starts infecting humans. However, he stressed that the chance of it spreading to people is still low, with only one confirmed case of a farm worker in Texas. The dairy worker went to a doctor in late March because his eyes were painful, red, swollen, and had burst blood vessels. Despite these symptoms, he didn't have a fever and his lungs seemed fine, as stated in a letter about his case that was released in the New England Journal of Medicine on Friday. Califf spoke to the Senate's Agriculture Committee on Wednesday. This virus, like all viruses, is mutating, he told the policymakers. We need to continue to prepare for the possibility that it might jump to humans, he said. The real worry is that it will jump to the human lungs, where, when that has happened in other parts of the world, the mortality rate has been 25%. Wow. Okay, so the FDA is preparing for this bird flu, guys. Okay, they're already talking about antivirals, test kits, and vaccines. All right. So, very serious situation. And if you remember, right around New Year's, the UN was talking about disease X, and they were worried about this disease that would kill a lot of people. Okay. So, very interesting. And I want to remind you guys about this strange situation that occurred Friday night into Saturday morning in Romania and Serbia. So we had a Romanian reconnaissance plane violate Serbia's airspace. It flew into Serbia about a mile and then turned around and left. And then about 30 minutes to an hour later, a Serbian government helicopter flying very low to avoid radar flew into Romania and turned its transponder off. So what you're looking at here is the flight path of the Romanian reconnaissance plane with the light blue coloring, and then the yellow path is from the Serbian helicopter. And so let me just show you a closer shot. So here's the Serbian helicopter as it flew into Romania. It turned its transponder off as soon as it entered Romania's airspace. And then here we have this Romanian reconnaissance plane that flew into Serbia around the town of Grabovica and then turned around and left. Okay, and I verified this with another flight tracker. So, very strange situation there. Not sure what was going on that night, but that's the latest breaking news that I have. It is Mother's Day, so tell your mom thank you, and all the mothers out there, thank you so much for being mothers. And I will be back later on tonight with more breaking news. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. And also check out my Telegram channel. I post all these updates to my Telegram. So if you follow me on Telegram, you'll never miss an update because I post them all over there. So if you need to catch up on all my updates. You can just go to my Telegram and they're all posted right there. If you ever have any difficulty finding my videos here, which recently people had difficulty finding my channel. I don't know if it was a shadow ban. I don't know if there was some glitch. Okay. But follow me there. I'll leave a link to my Telegram in the comments down below. And until next time, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.